I walked into the retro diner, expecting the usual awkward smiles and passive-aggressive remarks. Asterisk, asterisk. The smell of grease and burnt coffee filled the air as I spotted my mom, Sharon, sitting at the corner booth, her fingers wrapped around a sweating glass of soda, eyes already scanning me with that sharp, judgmental gaze. My dad, Gregory, sat beside her, arms folded, giving me the kind of tired look he always reserved for these forced family gatherings. Dylan, my younger brother, was too busy with his phone to even look up when I sat down. Sharon didn't waste any time. "You look nice," she said, her voice too bright to be sincere. I could feel her eyes flicking over my clothes, as if she were grading me. Gregory offered a weak smile, his way of saying I'm here, but not really. Dylan barely acknowledged my presence, recording a video of his milkshake for his social media. "When's the job search coming along?" Sharon asked, tapping her fingers on the edge of the booth, the words coming out like a casual inquiry but carrying that unmistakable weight of disappointment. I watched the table, feeling the familiar pressure building in my chest, the pressure that came every time they wanted to remind me how far I had to go. There was no warmth in their gaze, no acknowledgement of the things I'd worked hard to build on my own. It was all a quiet test. And as the food arrived, greasy burgers, overcooked fries, Sharon leaned back, watching me like she was waiting for me to fail. The days after my birthday felt heavy, and my phone stayed quiet until it wasn't. Asterisk, asterisk. One evening, as I was cleaning out old files, a particular email caught my attention. It was from a financial advisor, someone my dad had worked with for years. Subject line, Ray, Education Fund. I opened it. The message was simple but made my heart race. "We've received a request to transfer funds from an account originally set up by your grandfather for your education." I froze, staring at the words. My grandfather had left money for me, and no one had told me. I spent the next day sifting through old documents at my parents' house. I found the folder in the back of the closet, labeled Education Fund. As I flipped through it, I found the name on the form's mine. The account, opened by my grandfather, had been getting regular deposits. But then, the withdrawals started, large ones. From years ago, signed by none other than my mom, Sharon, and my Uncle Keith. I leaned back in the chair, the weight of the discovery sinking in. They had stolen the money set aside for my future, and no one had said a word. I didn't know what to do at first. Should I confront them directly? Should I expose them now? Or keep quiet and figure out the next step? As the days passed, my frustration grew. I sent a message to my Uncle Keith, hoping to get some answers. "I know about the education fund," I wrote, "and the withdrawals you and Mom made." The response came almost immediately. "Carly, this isn't the time for this," he said, trying to brush it off, like he hadn't just stolen from me. "Let's talk face to face." I knew this wouldn't be a simple conversation. Asterisk, asterisk. My family wasn't the kind to admit mistakes. They'd always acted like they had the right to do whatever they wanted. But this time, I wasn't going to let it slide. I had proof now, and I wasn't backing down. I didn't wait long to confront them. The next evening, I walked into my parents' house, the evidence in my hand. Sharon was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables. When I handed her the stack of papers, "What's this?" she asked, trying to act casual, but I could see the flicker of unease in her eyes. "I know about the education fund," I said, my voice steady. "The withdrawal's your name and Uncle Keith's is." She froze, a knife halfway to the cutting board. "What are you talking about?" she asked, her tone forced. I didn't bother with pleasantries. You and Keith drained the account. The money Grandpa left for me. Sharon's face hardened, and her eyes darted to the corner of the kitchen, avoiding my gaze. It wasn't like that, she said, her voice sharp. It was for the family. We needed it. Needed it? I repeated, my voice rising. You took money that wasn't yours. And you didn't tell me. You just let me sign away my future. She didn't answer. And the silence felt like a weight pressing down on us. I wasn't done. Asterisk, asterisk, I texted Keith, demanding we meet. When he showed up, I was sitting in the living room, the folder on the coffee table in front of me. Carly, this isn't the time, he said, his voice low. Trying to dismiss me. Don't tell me it's not the time. I snapped, standing up. You stole from me. And now, you're going to pay for it. Keith shifted, clearly uncomfortable, his eyes narrowing. You don't know what you're getting into. I know exactly what I'm getting into, I replied, my anger simmering. You thought you could take what was mine and get away with it. But now, it's out in the open. He didn't speak for a moment, just stared at me. You're making a huge mistake, he finally said, the words laced with guilt. You don't get to decide that anymore. I shot back. I was done being quiet. They had crossed a line, and I wasn't backing down. I thought I had it. Asterisk, asterisk, the email was sent, and the lawyer confirmed everything I needed. I could almost taste the victory, the truth finally coming out. The evidence solid. The weight of the betrayal clear. But when my mom called, the conversation felt like nothing had changed. Carly, you're making a scene, she said, her voice thin with forced calm. This is all a misunderstanding. We were just trying to help. You're blowing it out of proportion. 1. I knew the response was coming. You have no idea what you're talking about, I said, keeping my tone sharp. I have all the proof right here. She didn't even pause. This is between family. Don't let outsiders get involved. The words felt empty. A deflection. I knew it. But I couldn't stop the anger that bubbled up. You stole from me. Mom, and now you're pretending it's nothing? She sighed, her breath heavy with exhaustion. You're being dramatic. You can't just throw everything away over this. I felt the flicker of doubt. Like maybe I was wrong for pushing it so far. Maybe it was easier to pretend it wasn't real. To believe her. That night, I sat with the email open on my laptop, staring at it. Asterisk, asterisk. The victory didn't feel like a win anymore. The lawyer's words seemed distant. Empty. I knew the truth. But in my gut, I wasn't sure it would ever matter. My family had a way of twisting everything. And somehow, I was left standing alone, questioning if this was enough. I was winning. But the cost felt too high. I stood in the courtroom, the air thick with anticipation. Asterisk, asterisk. The evidence was all laid out before me. The bank statements. The withdrawals. The signatures. It was no longer just my word against theirs. Sharon sat across from me, her face a mask of tight composure, while Keith, beside her, kept his eyes down. My lawyer leaned over, whispering, "You've got them. We've got this." But the weight of the moment pressed heavily on me, and I couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't over yet. The judge glanced through the documents one last time, then looked up, meeting my eyes for the first time that day. "The court will deliberate," he said, his voice steady but cold. Sharon's grip tightened on her purse, and Keith's leg bounced nervously beneath the table. They were waiting. I could see it in their eyes, waiting for me to break, to back down. to accept that they'd been in control all along, but I wasn't about to give them that satisfaction. The room fell silent as the judge called for a break. I could feel their eyes on me as I stood up to leave. Sharon's voice cut through the tension. "Carly, we can settle this now. Just drop the case, and we'll figure it out." Her offer was empty, laced with desperation. I didn't even look at her. I turned to my lawyer. "We're moving forward. No backing down." Her face twisted in frustration, but I could see the flicker of fear in her eyes now. This wasn't something she could talk her way out of. The waiting felt endless. The walls closing in. Asterisk, asterisk. Finally, the judge returned, and the decision came down like a hammer. "The defendants," he said, looking directly at Sharon and Keith, "will be required to repay the full amount, plus damages." My heart didn't race. It didn't soar. But there was a quiet satisfaction in knowing they couldn't get away with it. They were going to pay. It was real. And I wasn't just a victim anymore. I was the one who'd won. The court's decision settled the score. But the fallout lingered. Asterisk, asterisk. Sharon called me a few days later. Her voice tight with frustration. "You've ruined everything." "Carly," she said, but I could hear the crack in her tone. The fear of consequences finally settling in. "I did what I had to do," I replied, my voice cold. "You've been lying to me for years, and now it's over." And she didn't respond, and I didn't wait for her to. I knew the relationship was broken beyond repair. For the first time in years, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The silence in my apartment no longer felt heavy. It felt like freedom. The next day, I started sorting through my plans for the future. No longer holding on to the expectation of approval or redemption from anyone in my family. Gregory tried to reach out, leaving a voicemail full of apologies and pleas to reconcile. Asterisk, asterisk. "I never wanted things to go this far," he said, but I deleted it without listening to the whole message. I had learned that love without respect meant nothing, and I wasn't going to beg for it anymore. My phone stayed silent after that, and I didn't mind. I knew my worth now, whether they acknowledged it or not. The repayment from the court didn't change everything, but it was a reminder that I wasn't powerless. The future, once clouded by their manipulation, now felt like mine to shape. If you've ever been underestimated, this story is for you. Asterisk, asterisk. Sometimes, the hardest thing is realizing your worth and taking action. Don't let anyone define your future. If you've enjoyed this journey, hit like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. This fight isn't over. Let's keep pushing forward together.